Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Chairperson of the Transport and Industrial Relations Committee. Has he requested any written submissions on the petition of George Laird, signed by nearly 14,000 people, calling on the government to retain the Hillside and Woburn workshops?
David Bennett.
Mr Speaker, I have not requested any written submissions on this petition.
Clare Curran.
Supplementary. Thank you, Mr Speaker. Did he, as Chair, put a motion to the committee that a submission be called for from the petitioner or a representative of the petitioner, and did he rule that Michael Woodhouse voted against it?
Order. This is starting to get into territory that are matters for the committee. What the Chair might... I think that's starting to get into dangerous territory. I'll give the member another chance to reword that question because Order. I'm going to give her another chance to reword the question should she wish to. Clare Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Did he, as Chair, put a motion to the committee that a submission be called for from the petitioner or a representative of the petitioner?
David Bennett.
Mr Speaker, what the member may have done as Chair is a matter for the committee and not in order to be questioned in the House in that way.
Order.
Point of order.
I'll seek some advice on this because what I thought, and I may be wrong here, but I thought the second question that supplementary asked what the Chair had done, not what the committee may or may not have done in relation to a matter. And I'll just seek advice to make sure I'm not wrong in allowing that where what the Chair may have done should be possibly questioned on. Now, my understanding is supported by the advice I've just received that the Chair can't be questioned on what the committee may have decided to do with respect to any motion, but if the Chair put a motion to the committee, the Chair can be questioned on that because that's an action of the Chair. I invite Clare Curran to repeat that question because I think it was in order. Clare Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Did he, as Chair, put a motion to the committee that a submission be called for from the petitioner or a representative of the petitioner?
David Bennett.
Any calls for written submissions are for the committee and a matter for the committee to decide and not for the Chair. I have not asked for a written submission from that petition.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I think you ruled that the question was in order, and the question was whether the Chair put a question to the committee. And
order. Point of order is being considered.
I don't think he has answered that question.
No, we don't get into debate while a point of order is being considered. I think the point of order is a reasonable point of order. I sought advice on whether or not the question was in order. The question asked the Chair whether he had put a submission or a motion, was it, to the committee that a submission be called for from the petitioner, was it? Now, I don't believe that has been answered. The Chair has told the House he hasn't called for submissions, but whether or not the Chair put a motion to the committee is a matter the Chair's able to answer, and I believe that the question deserves to be answered. David Bennett.
Mr Speaker, there's still a matter in front of the committee, and any discussions in the committee are held within committee and time to just report it back.
Order. Had the question asked what the committee had done and what the committee had decided in response to any motion to the committee by the Chair, then the Chair's response just now would be perfectly correct and proper, that any decisions of the committee are not matters that the Chair is responsible for in this House until the committee reports. But whether or not the Chair puts a motion to the committee is an action of the Chair. It is not a decision of the committee unless the committee, and if the Chair did something on instruction from the committee, that's another matter perhaps. But if the Chair, on the Chair's own initiative, put a motion to the committee, it seems to me that it is in order for that to be answered. And I don't see the big mischief in answering such a question. David Bennett.
Mr Speaker, I'll have to check that because I'm like to see what actually was said within committee, because I don't have that in front of me at the moment.
I accept point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
I mean, far from me, far from it. So I'll start again. Mr. Speaker, I am slightly dumbstruck, sir, because this is a matter on which there have been a series of questions as to whether or not a particular question relating to a member was put to a committee.
Order. If a member claims they cannot recollect, which is what the member is telling the House, I have to, as Speaker, accept a member's word. The House can make its own judgment about what it thinks, but as Speaker, I must accept the Chair's word that he cannot recollect with precision, and he obviously wishes to make sure he informs the House correctly, and I have to respect that answer. But that's not. Others can interpret it how they like. Question number 2, Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Chairperson of the Commerce Committee. Has she called for submissions on the petition of Alan Hare on the annuities payable to members of the Government Superannuation Fund and the National Provident Fund? If not, why not?
The Honourable Leanne Dalzell.
Yes, we have asked the petitioner to provide a written submission. We've received 4 unsolicited submissions from other organisations, 3 of whom have requested to be heard.
Grant Robertson, supplementary question.
Did she put a motion to the committee to call for those submissions to be heard before the House rises?
Yes, I did.
Honourable... Order. That brings to a close questions for oral answer. I call on Government Order of the Day number 1.
Criminal Procedure Reform and Modernisation Bill, second reading.
The Honourable Simon Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.